Welcome back, everybody. We're gonna be going here on this firewall today, trying out a new camera, seeing how this works. I need to get better at not looking at there and starting to look at you guys, and stop rambling. Been doing a lot of that. Sorry, that's just me. So we're gonna get going here on this firewall, but first of all, we're gonna have to get this cowl masked off. Like I said, we're gonna maintain the paint. So we're gonna bag it and try to keep some of the dust off of it. We got some other stuff over here to bag too, so we'll get going on that. So as I'm sitting here masking this off, I'm bagging and tagging those bolts that we took off the cowl panel there. Another thing that's on the cowl panel of this car is the VIN tag. Make sure you don't lose this. Bag it and tag it. So I understand a lot of you might be new to auto body, new cars, whatever. I was in the auto body industry for a little bit and learned a few tricks of the trade. So on sections like this where you can't physically get to the backside, my way of doing it, you can do it any other way you want, is to mask around the outside, back mask around the outside, and you come back and you just connect the dots, connect the frame. That's the easiest way I've learned to do it. Sometimes you just gotta get in where you can get, and sometimes you can't mask it. So you either just gotta shove something in the hole or let it go. Best you can do. Okay, so she's all masked up here. Like I said, I want to get the car protected before we get into it. Like I said before, whoever had this sprayed some of this nasty crap on here, so we're gonna get this all cleaned up. Probably gonna smooth out and fill some of these spot welds right here, and then we got a little trick up here that we're gonna do with this seam sealer. Gonna take this all off and exchange it for something else that we can actually body work and smooth out. So we're not going to worry too much about over here. This is all covered up underneath the fender, and it's doing its job. So we're just going to keep going. You know, this is all pretty good. We just got to clean it up a little bit. Plan is to paint this body color, so we're gonna get this through and, like I said, clean up a little here and there. And biggest thing is to get this nasty crap off first and figure out what we're going from next. So I'm gonna do one of these fun little snap transitions, hopefully. Try this. It's the first time. Didn't work. I guess I gotta get my hands dirty. So as I'm going through this process of stripping down the firewall and getting it all cleaned up, I'm going over it with wire wheel and grinder and finishing it off with 80 grit. I'm gonna end up priming this anyways. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna fix a couple things on it. There's just some spot welds, but there's also a couple things on this cowl panel. I'll flip you around here. So this is probably just me being anal, but there's a flange here. Let's see if we can keep you in focus here. The flange here just gets beat up. I mean, you can see like parts like this. You know, we're gonna flatten that out. You know, some spot welds and stuff we're gonna fill in. I got that all cleaned out. That used to be seam sealed. We got some other stuff that we're going to use on it. Basically a body filler with a fiberglass resin. It's a waterproof barrier. But just going through right now with the hammer and dolly. You can see my hammer and dolly here. And straightening this, this seam out, this pinch up. Going through and just the small things. Things that people may not notice, but I'm going to notice and it's going to bug me. So, might be taking a little bit longer than what I want, but I want it to be right. So, not like it's going to be it'll be a showpiece, but I plan on driving the piss out of this thing. I'm really, really hoping to get into some autocross and doing that type of stuff. So, we'll keep going on this, and like I said, I'm going to try not to ramble on. I'm already doing a bad looking over here and not looking here, not looking where you guys are. So I'm going to try to get this all wrapped up, at least start on the filling process and just get it closer. That nasty stuff on the firewall is being a real pain. Once I start grinding it off or sanding it off, it's melting and just being a pain. So we're going to keep going on this, and I'll check back in with you guys after I get closer to being done. Back again. A little bit dirtier. Let's see where we're at right now. Got all this all cleaned up. Got this edge all cleaned out. Had to do quite a bit of beating and banging on it. Try to straighten most of this up. Like I said, it's not going to be perfect. It's cowl panel. There's a pretty big low spot there. You can feel down the edge, and you can feel it usually. Feel your bumps and your ridges and stuff. The first coat, we'll see everything. Sorry, getting in focus there. So we'll start seeing everything, but we got that all cleaned out, and we're just getting ready to start mixing up our first batch of the fiberglass reinforced filler. That's going to be a vapor barrier for taking out the seam sealer, but I wanted something that would be able to be sanded and cleaned up, just to smooth it out a little bit. If we're going this far, we might as well go all the way. So this is what I'm going to be using. So like I said, it's a fiberglass reinforced, kind of a resin-based filler. I'm going to go over that with one coat. Hopefully that covers most of it, and then just hit it with a simple coat of glaze. Get it as close as possible. Like I said, we ain't looking for an immaculate cowl panel or firewall. Just cleaning it up, going a little bit overstock with it. So like I said, just gonna take a little extra time to do it the right way. Do it a little bit overkill. So I'm gonna set you guys up here and get the first coat on here. So like I said, it's a fiberglass resin base body filler. When you're doing your body filler, I like to use a piece of plastic or something that's not coarse. A lot of people use cardboard, and not a huge fan of cardboard with this. It ends up soaking up your activator, and just unless you've coated it a couple times, I just like to use a piece of plastic. It just makes everything easier. So like I said, the more activator you put in, the hotter mix it's going to be. I usually like to just put a little on there. Now everybody does this step a little different. I need mine. I don't sit here and stir it. I lay it down flat and smush it out. And what that does is that ensures that you're not adding any air into the mix. Just a little less likely to have air bubbles and pinholes, and just makes for an all smoother process. Not having to go back 1,000 times to, you know. Now this stuff, you're gonna have some pinholes with the fiberglass in it. We're gonna be going back with some resin, or some not some resin, some glaze. Sorry about that. Some glaze, and we're gonna end up, you know, going back over it with glaze and smoothing the rest of it out. But that should be enough to start with. Hopefully we didn't get it too hot. Gotta work quick with some of this stuff. Get it too hot. We're gonna go through and just make sure we get enough in that crack to act as our seam sealer. Still got a little bit of stuff to do on the firewall, so I figured I'd put this on, get this going. But like I said, trying to get something in here that I can smooth out and just make it look a little bit more presentable. But like I said, we want to make sure we get enough in there to seal that. Not sure how the camera's doing with this, the close-ups and stuff, so. Like I said, doesn't have to be perfect, just, and you guys can possibly see the actual fiberglass resin in it. The fiberglass pieces, just little pieces in it, so keeps it from just a little more reinforcement. You'll see as we go through the rest of this car, there's some stuff that I'm going to be doing with, hopefully either some fiberglass or composites, you know, some carbon or something, but that'll be down the road. I want to get this thing up and running before I start adding extras onto it. So, but like I said, just smush a little bit in there. Hopefully it gets, make sure you get it nice and, you know, spread out in there, so you're actually doing your sealing. Like I said, this will take the place of your seam sealer, plus it's moldable, so good thing is I didn't mix it too hot because it's still working for me. You'll notice when it starts getting, you know, when you start getting too much, you'll run out of time with it because it'll start hardening up as you're putting it in. So don't try to put too much hardener in it. You know, I try to keep, you know, I've waited almost all day to do this, to let the steel heat up, because I don't leave my garage heated all week. So, but like I said, take your time. Hopefully it makes it up just right so it doesn't get too hot. Get it too hot and you just don't have any time. So, work our way down. I will get back with you guys when this is all set up, and we will start the sanding process, the fun process. So it hardened up now. You can see down here I've already started working on it. Just got a simple piece of B80 grit with a mixing stick behind it just to get it roughed in there. I'm gonna rough this in and then we'll see if we need some glaze. Obviously we'll need some glaze, but I don't think we're gonna need any more fiberglass filler. So let's get this sanded down and get onto it. Well, face is a little dustier, but we got that all sanded down. It's not that perfect, which is fine. There's some, you can see the shiny spots where the steel came through. We're gonna go ahead and put a coat of glaze on it, mix it up the same, and spread it out the same. We'll get back after that spread. Okay, so it's been a little bit longer now. Cowl panel's pretty much done. Cowl panel is pretty much all done. I got it all blocked down. Like I said, you see some high spots and stuff in here, but everything's pretty well, you know, feathered out. I'm not going for perfection on this, but it's better than what it was. So it's a lot smoother. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm still working on the firewall, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw some primer on this because I am running out of time today. So about dinner time. I've been out here since about 8, so we're gonna get this all primed up. I am not spraying it. You don't have to spray primer. We used to do a lot of priming at the auto body shop with just a 4-inch foam roller, and I'll show you that process. But we're going to use a 2-part high build auto primer. I don't know if you can get, there we go, 2-part. So I don't know what our mixing ratio is on this. It's a 4-to-1. So we'll mix this 4-to-1, and I will get the roller out and roll it on. I'm going to set you up on a camera and just kind of show you how I go about doing things. You're not looking for full coverage. We're pretty much just looking to hit the metal spots. You know, this is fine. We can use this as, you know, primer. We'll just scuff it and paint it, but everything's all smoothed out. So we'll cover that metal up and seal it all up and be done with it. Okay, primer's all mixed up. Like I said, I like using these boards. So I'm just gonna roll it on just like house paint. Like I said, there's no rhyme or reason of where you gotta go. Just make sure everything's scuffed before you prime. And I've stepped mine off, since I'm using a high build. I've stepped mine off to 180. It's 180 grit sandpaper. You can go down to 220. Most of the time people go down to 220, but I went to 180. And so I just dump a little bit out on this board. Roll it on. Make sure you coat all your primer, or prime all your filler and your bare spots. I'm just going to go ahead and pretty much prime the whole thing. Like I said, you don't have to get, of course my gear will kick on. You don't have to get real crazy with, you know, spraying everything on. Especially for primer, you're just going to end up sanding it down anyway, so it might just be a little bit more rough than, you know, what you'd get if you would have sprayed it. It might be a little easier to get into some of the cracks and crevices, but this is pretty well flat, not crazy. All I do, a couple coats of this, let it flash about 5 minutes in between coats. Probably won't even wait 5 minutes now that the heater's on. But get this all primed up, and we'll come back after we get the firewall done. I just want to get this in primer so it wasn't going to rust. Get this all done. Get the firewall done. Firewall's taking a little bit more time because it's stuff that I found on it is just being a real pain in the butt to get off. So let's go from here. Like I said, it's just a cowl panel. It's going to be a whole lot better than what it was prior to this. I'm not looking for a show quality smooth job on this, and there might be a couple pinholes that you'll notice. Like I got a couple right there and there that I'll come back and I'll use a razor blade and actually just take some more glaze and glaze it in with a razor blade, as a spreader. Just prime away, just like painting a house. I use these little 4-inch foam rollers. You can get them from any hardware store. Get the foam ones because you can lay out. It'll lay the primer out a lot nicer, a lot smoother. Like I said, take your time, watch paint dry. Yeah, so I'll get back with you guys when I get this all done, and we'll look at what we did and steps that we went over and see how she turned out. After the primer gets on there, you can see a lot better. So, all right, we'll see ya. And that's it for the cowl panel. While we're waiting on primer to dry, like I said, it's gonna be a little rough. We're gonna go back and wet sand it, and we'll guide coat it. I don't know if we'll guide coat it or not. We'll wet sand it and smooth it out, but we're gonna leave it the way it is right now for a little while until I get done with cleaning off this firewall. Like I said, there's just this freaking crap that's I just need to get it out. Really don't want to have to push the harness through the firewall, but might have to. So we'll end up getting the firewall primed up, find out how far down we're going to go into the trans tunnel or underneath the car with the body color. Usually there's a nice seam underneath. This seam seems to be all the way back here. I don't know if I want to go body color all the way back there, but we'll see. Other guys have split it off here and gone down and then, come across with it. But we'll see how far we go with it. But like I said, I made a mess out of everything today. So I'm going to get my little garage cleaned up here and get stuff organized before I go inside and eat dinner and call it a day. But made some progress. Like I said, she ain't perfect. Not gonna be perfect, but looks a lot better than that seam sealer did. So I'll leave you with a little bit of a shot of it and come back with, like I said, a lot smoother than what it was. We'll wet sand that primer off and it should be all nice and smoothed out. But if you like what you're seeing here, keep coming back. I'm sure some of you can see in the rendering on our Instagram. That's what we're going for. So kind of a Eurofighter, little 240Z and influence there. A little Z28 influence there. So we will go for it. So like, subscribe, check us out on Instagram and Facebook. I'll leave you there. Have a good one.